Hey, what's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and it's time to talk about Maryland metallic hardcore crew SHARPTOOTH, tearing it all down with their new album Transitional Forms via Pure Noise Records. But before I do that, if you like what I'm doing here, you want to keep up to date with these underground and some above ground bands, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. I upload new content every single week. Also, stick around after SHARPTOOTH because I got 2 more albums that you definitely want to check out as well. Now, July has been another absolutely overloaded month of great releases with me scrambling to keep up, and then just a day before this album dropped, I caught the very clever music video for Say Nothing in the Absence of Content. Well, guess I'm dropping everything to get this one out.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
SHARPTOOTH is a band that somehow has flown under my radar, forming in 2014 and dropping 2 EPs and their debut album, Clever Girl, in 2017. In any case, I'm glad Transitional Forms finally caught my attention because this album slaps so hard. We're talking a different shade of blue levels of fury here. First and foremost, we have Lauren Kashan absolutely killing it on the mic. From Code Orange's Reba Myers and Capra's Crow Lotus to Employed to Serve's Justine Jones, I'm a sucker for badass women tearing it up in hardcore music, and Lauren is easily top tier in the genre. And don't take this as me pigeonholing her with the ladies either, as her larynx ripping intensity is most certainly also up there with the likes of Knocked Loose, Brian Garris. I tend to define a truly great hardcore vocalist in terms of their callouts, and Hirodinia's "You're not a feminist just because you fucked one" instantly rocketed into my top 10 of all time. You're not a feminist just because you fucked one. Lauren also shakes things up with some singing on this record, most notably more serene tones on The Grey and Nevertheless She Persisted, and what feels like a clear ode to Keith Buckley of Every Time I Die on 153. And if that wasn't enough, Anti-Flag's Justin Sane makes an appearance on Evolution. His more classic-style punk voice may seem like an odd choice, but the resulting contrast between them makes for a very interesting listen. And the "How fucking dare you" breakdown is also destined to be another great scream-along mosh pit moment at future performances. So that's just the vocals. We haven't even gotten to the instrumentation yet. Nothing too flashy here, but from the guitars and bass to the drums, top to bottom, this band works like a well-oiled machine. Nothing is superfluous. Every note, every snare hit, every breakdown feels coldly calculated, which is also reflected in the tight as a drum 30-minute runtime of the album as a whole. Even deeper cuts like Life on the Razor's Edge serve excellent purpose by varying up the dynamics, not to mention this track has a seriously tasty bass rumble building up to that ultimate push over the cliff. The Grey also serves as a solid example of SHARPTOOTH's range, kicking off with some serious D-beat, but later flexing the band's more melodic side with a drifting interlude alongside the aforementioned clean vocals. All in all, Transitional Forms is a fantastic release, even when considering the fierce competition in the world of metallic hardcore over the past 3 years or so. I give it a 10 for enjoyability. It gripped me instantly and only gets better with each listen thanks to the massive levels of energy and charisma on display. I give it a 9 for instrumentation. It's pretty typical stuff for the genre, but extra points for how well they work together as a unit and also deliver on some variety. And I give it a 7 for innovation. Again, nothing particularly unique going on here, but nevertheless, it does more than enough to really stand out this year. Average those 3 out to 8.7. It's a B+ for Transitional Forms and SHARPTOOTH. Get it right now, again, through Pure Noise Records. But hey, don't go anywhere just yet, because I've got another one for you in the always riff-driven blackened heavy metal entity Rebel Wizard, back with another thrilling album, Magical Mystical Indifference, via Prosthetic Records. I've been following this quirky Melbourne, Australian project since its early EPs in 2016, and it's been fun to watch it blossom from relative unknown status to increasingly more high-profile signings. As always, fusing the classic guitar sound of Iron Maiden and Judas Priest with raw and often indecipherable black metal vocals, this purveyor of negative wizard metal, as they put it, always waves the flag of the almighty riff. Clearly, Mastermind NKSV never left the 80s, because these hooks sound as if they come out of some alternate history where Randy Rhoads never died and Rainbow still rules the airwaves.
Die Frage ist nicht aus welcher Zeit, sondern aus welcher Welt.
And also, everyone records their Vox through a shitty CB radio or gas mask. And aside from these same tricks that we've heard on previous outings, Magical Mystical Indifference also engages in some experimentation with slower tracks like Not Rain But the Wizard's Tears, and even a pure ambient string arrangement on Love Wisdom Everything Nothing. These additions help the usual Hellfire of Axe worship shine even brighter due to the enhanced dynamics that come with them. I'm also happy to hear the production has kind of shifted back to that of the earlier releases, really emphasizing a fuller guitar sound that really highlights their true glory. Magical Mystical Indifference is easily Rebel Wizard's best effort to date, but unfortunately one that would be easy to miss. So if you dig original genre mashups, new takes on old ideas, and above all, killer riffs, do yourself a favor and grab this one right now. Alright, and one more shout out with LA Tempe progressive metal band Dessiderium, led by Alex Haddad, also of Archaic and Nulling Roots, with the new album Shadowburn. Shadowburn is a captivating dose of progressive death metal that amplifies its already impressive songwriting with abundant use of atmospheric synths and keys. The result falls somewhere between Warforged and Fallujah in terms of overall effect, conjuring imagery of angelic creatures amongst drifting clouds. This ends up forming a nice contrast with the malicious, almost Karish Angren-esque vocals, a constant warring of light and dark, good and evil. And speaking of black metal bands, there are certainly elements of the genre that pop up here and there in some of the more ominous guitar riffs, in addition to the more proggy, technical death metal hooks. Taken together with a cavernous production style that draws allusions to the peak era of bands like Cynic and Dark Tranquillity, Dessiderium have really put together an album that feels strangely timeless. The Eastern-sounding influences on some of the later tracks like Sage and Learning also helps it stand out. Shadowburn is a powerful experience that surrounds the listener in a whirlwind of technical guitars and drums, vicious snarls, and ethereal atmospheric synths. It can be an almost overwhelming listening experience at times, but Dessiderium definitely deserve attention of the obvious hard work that went into it. And that's it, y'all. 3 more albums that you do not want to miss this month. And of course, don't go anywhere, because we got plenty more of these reviews coming right after this one. So once more, please do subscribe. We got more album reviews, album roundups, tier lists, the podcast where I get to interview all these very interesting artists and musicians. Also down in the description, you can find links to our social media, the email newsletter, and our Patreon and Subscribe Star if you want to make that extra leap to becoming a full-on supporter. Would really appreciate it. But that'll do it for this video. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.